Hi, this is Chick Shane Mosley, and you're watching True School Sports.
All right. The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Had a bit of a phlegm in my throat there, but we're here patrolling the streets of Hollywood, just getting my little walk in before I go to the boxing gym for my evening training session tonight. Let's talk about the biggest fight of the year. Yes, you heard me. The biggest fight and the biggest event in boxing this year, right? The streets have been demanding this fight. The people want this fight. It's Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones, November 28th. It's supposed to be an exhibition. What did Apollo Creed's trainer say when Ivan Drago beat his ass and knocked him out and killed him? It was supposed to be an exhibition.
What are you guys doing? This is supposed to be an exhibition.
It's supposed to be an exhibition between Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson, but it's 8 rounds. They're saying it's 8 rounds, 2-minute rounds, and it's getting a lot of picking up a lot of steam. You know, I'm seeing like the buzz for this fight is really big amongst the casual boxing fans. It seems, you know, like I was walking downtown Miami about a couple of weeks ago, and I was walking by all these sports bars in downtown Miami, and I saw posters for this fight on multiple sports bars, you know. So people are advertising it. The sports bars are probably going to have the fight. These are two guys that are marquee names, not just in boxing, but in sports at large. Two icons of sports, not just boxing, and Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. So, like, first of all, let's start with the fight itself. You got Mike Tyson, who hasn't fought since 2005, since he got knocked out by, I think, Kevin McBride. He lost to Kevin McBride, I believe, to end his career. And, you know, he's been dropping a series of Instagram clips this year. And people have been getting gassed about him hitting the pad. They say, oh my God, Mike Tyson's he's a beast, and he's this and he's that. And fair play to him, you know, it's like, you know, class is permanent. And he spent all those hours and all those years in a boxing gym, so the mechanics and the skills are drilled so deeply into his head subconsciously that never leaves you. His ability to execute it for long periods of time have left him because he's not, you know, in his 20s or his early 30s anymore. But it, you know, the mechanics, he knows what he's doing in there. Mike Tyson, what can we say about Mike Tyson? He's an icon in boxing and sports and pop culture. So this is a big deal, and I will be live for this fight. You know, you will get a live fight reaction for Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones, because I never thought in my wildest dreams that we'd have Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones fights to be live for my life, you know, in my lifetime. You know, well, Roy Jones was fighting, but I'm saying this is a marquee fight. So you got Mike on one side, and on the other side you got one of the pound greats. Y'all must have forgot Roy Jones Jr. Okay, now he was active more recently than Mike Tyson. Unlike Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. is still an active participant in the boxing gym. He still trains with fighters and has his own gym in Pensacola. It's been documented well that he's been working with Chris Eubank Jr. So he's someone that stays around boxing. Mike has kind of like gotten back into boxing, so it's gonna be a entertaining sight to see. Now they're fighting in 2-minute rounds, right? And that's like, you know, women fight 2-minute rounds. And these guys are old, so I'm not going to get mad at them. They fought more than enough 3-minute rounds to last a lifetime. And I'll never criticize Mike Tyson or Roy Jones for everything they did for the sport of boxing. But, like, they're fighting 2-minute rounds, so, like, you got to ask yourself the question, like, who does that favor, right? Well, it's 8 rounds. And Mike Tyson, like I said, I think Mike Tyson will be dangerous for the first 2 rounds. So I think Roy in this exhibition is going to have to survive a bit of an onslaught from Mike, because Mike is going to come in there and he's going to try to put Roy Jones Jr. out of there. And if he lands in those first 2 rounds, Roy probably will be out of there because Mike's a naturally bigger guy, all that stuff. But if Roy gets past round 2, takes him into round 3, round 4, round 5, I think the fight favors Roy, because Roy is the guy that's been more active recently. Roy is the guy that stays around boxing. And Roy Jones Jr. I still think is very capable of hitting Mike Tyson with a 3, 4, 5 punch barrage. So if it's early, I favor Mike. If it's late, I favor Roy. But either way, I think that I'm really hoping that this fight does well for boxing, because, you know, it's never a bad thing when boxing can create new fans. Now, on the undercard of this fight, on the undercard of this fight is Jake Paul versus Nate Robinson. Okay, now this is once again another series of these YouTubers fighting each other. Although Nate Robinson is more than a YouTuber, he's got a YouTube channel, but he's a basketball player. For those of you who don't know, he's a pretty good basketball player for the New York Knicks, Denver Nuggets, Golden State Warriors, Chicago Bulls, Oklahoma City Thunder. He's well-traveled basketball player, 5'8" or 9, can jump out the gym. A very great athlete, okay? And he's fighting Jake Paul, who's already a more experienced boxer. Jake Paul has been knocking these guys out in sparring. He's looking like the bootleg version of Clay Collard. You know, Jake Paul looks the part. And out of all the YouTuber, out of all the YouTube vlogger boxer guys, he seems to be the guy that's taking this fight, takes boxing the most seriously, in my opinion. From what I can see on the outside looking in, that's how I feel. Now, I was there earlier this year when Jake Paul had that fight with Gibb. And ain't that crazy? Jake Paul's fighting for the second time this year. Jake Paul got more professional fights this year in 2020 than most professional fighters got in 2020. That's insane. But obviously, I'm not the most excited for the fight because it's whatever to me. It's just like it's YouTubers fighting each other. But I'm looking forward to seeing, I guess, Jake Paul be improved, and really, I'm really looking forward to seeing Nate Robinson, because Nate Robinson is a great athlete. He's a great basketball player, a very good basketball player. But just because you're a good basketball player doesn't translate to you being a good boxer. You know, they're two different things. And I think, in my opinion, this is my opinion. You know, Nate Robinson, God bless you and God be with you in the ring. But in my humble opinion, I think Nate Robinson is going to find out the difference between being a great athlete and being a boxer. Say what you want about Jake Paul. Say what you want about whatever about him. But this is a guy that's taking this sport serious. This is a guy that's taking preparation for this very serious. And, you know, he's got more experience, which I think at this stage means more. So I'm going to go with Jake Paul to win his fight. I think Jake will beat Nate Robinson. But who knows, man? Who knows? I'm hoping Nate wins, but I think Jake will win. Aside from that, you know, you got they just recently announced that they're gonna have like all these rappers performing. So you're gonna have like Lil Wayne and French Montana, Wiz Khalifa, and all these rappers performing. So that's gonna bring a lot of eyes to the event that normally wouldn't be there for a boxing match, because you're gonna have a lot of people and a lot of rappers that people are fans of that they want to see perform. So I think Tyson, Roy Jones, Trilla, they're doing their part to try to make this a big event, because you know, the main event is cool. It's really an exhibition, but they're doing their best to make this an event. And I think, like, if this event does well, let's just say, right, because honestly, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what to expect. I don't know if it's gonna do great at the box office, because they were saying that, I think someone told me the pay-per-view is $50, but if I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. I think it's got a chance to do really well. You know, and if it does do well, right, and Tyson and Jones, let's just say, right, let's say Tyson and Jones, they smash the box office. Let's say they put up anywhere from 600,000 buys to 1 million buys, just off their names and just off of, like, you know, the way the event's been promoted. Then I think it should give the boxing promoters a new outlook on how to promote fights, because I feel like a lot of times boxing promoters aren't even promoters. They're brokers, and they cut TV deals. They're not promoters. But here you got Mike Tyson and Roy Jones, and they're thinking outside the box, and they're trying to do things to attract more eyeballs to the sport of boxing. So if it wins, if it's successful, I think it's a good W for boxing, and I hope it creates some new boxing fans along the way. And we'll definitely be live for it here on True School Sports. As for my prediction on the fight, man, Mike Tyson seems like the popular pick. Everybody's picking Mike because Mike is, you know, he's Mike Tyson, he's Iron Mike. And Mike Tyson, you know, he's very popular, and all these Instagram videos have been, like, making him really famous and stuff, more famous than he already was. And I still feel, I'm still pissed off I picked Kell Brook against Terrence Crawford, so I really don't want to get any more of these fights wrong. But you know what, man? I'm gonna go with the Florida boy. I'm gonna go with Roy Jones. I think Mike Tyson is gonna go in there, and he's gonna shoot his proverbial load off in the first 2 rounds. And after that, I think Roy Jones Jr. is gonna be very much in his comfort zone, and he's gonna hit Mike Tyson with a barrage of speedy combinations. And I'm gonna go with Roy Jones to edge the decision, man. You know, he might go through some adversity overall, but listen, y'all must have forgot Roy Jones Jr., Florida stand-up. I'm picking Roy Jones Jr. for the upset. I hope he wins. I know it's an exhibition, but it will be a big event, and we'll be live for it on True School Sports. I'm doing this video because I really wanted to just get my thoughts out there on this fight because I haven't really talked too much about it. But you guys out there in the world, you know, my loyal subscribers and viewers, I appreciate you guys so much. Let me know what you guys think about this fight. Any thoughts, concerns, questions you have about this fight, leave them in the comments down below. Again, I'm gonna be live for that fight. I'm gonna do 2 live fight reactions that day. We're gonna have one for Joe Joyce and Daniel Dubois in the afternoon, and then we will do the Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. one later on that night. So it's gonna be a movie and a half. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure you take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.
Showtime, Sean Porter. It's Aerosmith Dre. Hey everyone, this is Jesse Vargas. You're watching True School Sports. You're watching True School Sports. All right. And you're watching True School Sports. Stay tuned.